Hey friends, it's me, Mr. Rosa, coming back with another chapter in our book, Pax. I have my son Cash with me. He's going to be reading with us today.
Duck.
Oh man. Yeah, he's a Ducks fan. I'm not so much. I'm from Utah, so I'm a Utah Utes fan. But,
Ooh, I hate you too.
You hate Utah Utes, I know. Alright, well, let's get into this chapter. Last time we read about Peter, so that means this next chapter is probably about who, Cash?
Peter.
Well, Peter, it's probably about
The
Pax. Probably about Pax. Let's see if it is. Oh my gosh, I was right. It is. Pax squirmed in pleasure at the solid, warm weight of another body nestled against his. Half awake, he sniffed to draw in the comforting scent of his boy. Instead of human, though, he found fox. He woke fully then. Curled against him, snoring, was the vixen's brother. Runt whimpered and fluffed his tail over his snout. Still asleep, Pax pulled himself up sharply. He had no patience at dominance, but the situation left him no choice. Go back to your den. When Runt tried to nestle into his chest, Pax nicked him on the shoulder. Runt shook himself awake and rolled to his feet. He didn't duck his head in submission, and he made no move to leave. Play, his position invited instead. Cash wants me to show you this awesome picture by John Clausen. Take a look. In other circumstances, Pax would have welcomed good-natured little Fox's company, but he had no interest in tangling with Bristle again. In fact, he had no interest in anything else besides getting back to his humans. Pax fetched the plastic soldier he'd catched and dropped it as an offering, then warned him away again. After a final pleading look, Runt took the toy in his mouth. Pax followed him out and watched until he slipped into a hole a few tail lengths away. When the thunderstorm had hit, short but violent, with whole sheets of sky splitting open with wrathful cracks, Pax had worked his way into the shadow entrance of an abandoned den not far from one of the Bristles shared with her brother before taking measure of his surroundings. Now, the pale light of the half moon, he took a moment to survey them. The hillside faced south. Here, the roots of the trees seemed to claw at the sandy soil like the brown knuckles of clenched fists. Tucked among them, Pax saw 3 den entrances. Above this hillside, the forest rose to the north and west, back to the road. Below, a vast grassy valley sloped away. It was an ideal location. The hillside perch provided little cover for approaching predators, while the line of trees protected the foxes from the north winds. The meadows smelled abundantly of life. As Pax took all this in, attention deep within him loosened. It was the same way he felt as a kit when he'd been pushed his food dish, after he'd pushed his food dish to the farthest corner of his boy's nest room 3 times. Peter finally understood to leave it there, away from the cold north wall and with a view of the door where the father entered, sometimes in anger. Safe. But this was not a safe place for him. Bristle had warned him that in the same meadow lived an older fox and his mate. He was already facing a challenger from outside and would not tolerate the presence of another lone male. And just then, Pax saw a movement below him. A broad-shouldered alpha with black and gray fur emerged from the brush halfway down the slope and marked a sapling beside him. The big fox began to groan, but with a paw still to his ear, he suddenly pricked his snout on into the breeze. Pax bolted up the hill and plunged into the forest undergrowth. He picked up his own scent easily, although it had rained hard, stopping only for quick licks of water from the leaves. He followed it back to the road. There, Pax caught the lingering scent of the military transport caravan from the day before, but no other traffic had passed since then. He settled himself on the fallen oak trunk again to wait. Morning brought the shimmery breeze of insect clouds and the chatter of walking birds, but still no traffic sounds on the road. As the sun rose hot and dry, it burned off the rain droplets that had hung from every green shoot. Pax was aware of his hunger now, but his thirst was worse. He had nothing to drink since leaving his human's house. His throat was parched and his tongue swollen and thick. He felt dizzy whenever he shifted position. 100 times a thin scent of water drifted past him, but he never considered abandoning his post for its promise. His humans would come back here. He dug in his claws into the wood and strained for the sound of a vehicle on the silent road. An hour passed, then another. Pax dozed and woke and remembered. Dozed, woke, and remembered. And then the wind brought news of something approaching. A fox. The same male he'd seen earlier. The one Bristle had warned him about. The fox's gait was deliberate, showing neither hesitation for wasted energy. The way his gray coat draped his frame announced that he was old. As he drew close, Pax saw that even his eyes were clouded with gray with age. After offering his scent, Gray settled himself on the grass beside the fallen trunk. He made no move to elevate himself, indicating that he meant no threat. You carry the scent of humans. I lived with them once. They are approaching. A sudden hope rejuvenated Pax. Have you seen my boy? He described Peter. But Gray had seen no humans at all since the time he had lived with them in his youth. And that was in another place. A dry, stony land of long winters and low sun distance. The approaching humans are coming from the west. They are bringing war. The crows who have seen them do not describe any youth. The news weakened Pax. He swayed and nearly lost his grip on the trunk. You need water. Follow me. Pax hesitated. His humans could come at any time, but his need for water was urgent. Is it nearby? Can I hear the road from this water? Yes. The stream passes beneath the road. Follow me. Gray's manner, confident but not threatening, calmed Pax. He dropped from his perch and followed. Soon they came to a deep gash in the earth, from which rose the scents of water and things that grew in rich mud. Pax peered over the edge and saw a silver brook, studded with black stones, glinting between green reeds and purple blossoms. Gray began to angle down cautiously. Lured by the scent of water, Pax scrambled past him, straight down the cut. Halfway there, he lost his footing and skidded the rest of the way. When he righted himself, he stared. The water tumbled past him as if from a vast faucet, larger by far than even the spout that poured water into the great white tub his boy bathed in. He dipped his head. The water was cold and tasted of copper and pine and moss. It rushed into his mouth as if it were alive. It stung his teeth and drenched his mouth and throat. He drank, and he didn't step away until his belly was taut. Gray joined him, drank, and then invited Pax to rest with him. Pax cocked his head to listen intently to the still, silent road above the culvert. I must be at the road when my humans come for me. Gray eased himself into the ground and stretched out. That road was blocked yesterday by the war sick. Pax thought back to the vehicles that had passed the day before, the ones that smelled like his boy's father's new clothing. It was true that the road had been unused since then, but it didn't matter. My boy will return for me there. No. The crows report this. The road is closed. Pax paced from stone to stone, thrashing his tail as he worked the puzzle. The answer came. I will go to my boy at our home. Where's your home? Pax circled to be sure. Although there was no question, he felt the pull of his home strongly from only one direction, south. Gray did not seem surprised. There are vast human colonies there. When the war sick arrive here, my family will have to move nearer to those colonies or go north, into the mountains. Tell me about the humans there. How are they to live beside? Again, the fox's comportment soothed Pax. He sat back and sat. I've seen many from a distance, but I only know two. Are they false acting like the ones I knew? Pax didn't understand this. Gray rose to his haunches, agitated, and shared the behavior he had seen. A human turning away a starving neighbor, acting as if there were no food in his larder when it was full. A human feigning indifference to a mate she'd chosen. A human enticing a sheep from its flock with a soothing voice, then butchering it. Your humans do not do these things? Immediately, Pax thought of the boy's father pulling him from the car, his voice mimicking a sense of regret. Pax knew was false by the burst of lie scent he'd given off. He turned back to the brook as it spilled over a pair of stones. The currents split and then reunited in a liquid silver braid. Pax was struck by a memory. Not long after his boy had rescued him, when he was still a skittish kid, a stranger had come to the door. Pax had watched from under the table as his boy's father had greeted a woman with a long silver braid streaming over one shoulder. His smile showed all teeth, which Pax had come to understand meant welcome. I am glad to see you. I wish you no harm. But beneath the smile, the man's body was rigid with anger and fear. Pax had been confused by this fear. The small woman was projecting nothing but kindness and concern. She kept repeating the word Pax had already come to associate with the boy, Peter, in a pleading tone. The man's full-teeth, welcome smile remained frozen in place, but the room had flooded with a bitter scent of deception as he answered her. His chest had been puffed out in threat as he shut the door hard against her. Pax turned to the older fox. I have seen it. Not my boy, never him. But it's true of his father. The old fox seemed to age as he took this in. With visible effort, he rose to his haunches. Are they still careless? They were when I lived with them. Careless? They plow a field, and then they slaughter the mice living there, with no warning. They dam a river, and leave the fish to die. Are they still careless that way? Once, when Peter's father was about to cut down a tree, Pax had watched Peter climb it to take down a nest and move it to another tree. On cold days, Peter brought fresh straw to Pax's pen before he himself ate. He always made sure Pax had water and food. My boy is not careless. The fox seemed relieved by this news, but only for a moment. When war comes, they will all be careless. What is war? Gray paused. There is a disease that strikes foxes sometimes. It causes them to abandon their ways, to attack strangers. War is a human's sickness like this. Pax jumped to his feet. The war sick. They will attack my boy. War came to the land where I lived with humans. Everything was ruined. There was fire everywhere, many deaths, and not only of the war sick, the adult males, children, mothers, elders of their own kind, all the animals. The men who were sick with the disease spilled their chaos over everything in their path.
That's so sad.
It does sound sad. The same thing is coming? Gray raised his head in a howl that turned the air itself to sadness. West of here, where the war is already, where the humans are killing each other, the land is completely ruined. The crows carry the news. The rivers are dammed. The earth is scorched bare. Not even briars will grow. Rabbits and snakes, pheasants and mice, all creatures killed. Pax leaped to the path. He would find his boy before this war came. Gray followed. Wait! I will travel south with you to search for a new home. Follow me back first. Back to the meadow? No! The vixen warned me not to return. The vixen will never welcome you, because you have lived with humans. Pax then caught a quick flash of the same scene he'd watched pass between the vixen and her brother. A cold, howling wind. A mated pair of foxes in great distress. A cage of steel clamps. Blood-staining snow. And then, abruptly, nothing. But she's not dominant. Follow me back.
Dada.
We will rest and
Spiderweb.
eat, and then leave tonight.
Spiderweb.
That is the end of chapter 7, my friends. So, I want to know, do you think it is a smart decision for Pax to travel south? Or do you think he should travel north? Let me know in the comments below, or just tell me what you liked about the story today. Thank you so much for watching. Got anything to say to him, Cash?
Bye.
Bye, guys.
I have videos too.
We'll see you later. Have a great day.